weather's a lot better than last week, a lot warmer, which I think everyone's surprised about, especially. But yeah, I mean, I played in this event last year and really enjoyed it, and over 2 courses is different, and playing kind of with the men is very different. And yeah, it's a great golf course here, so I'm excited to get going for tomorrow.
What's it like preparing for 2 different courses? We don't get that on the LPGA Tour time and time again. What's the preparation like for you?
Slightly more hard work, which is not ideal, but like I say, we play the same course, 1 course every week, so it is nice for it to be different. I've only played 9 on the Maguire, just because I don't want to play 6 rounds of 18 holes. So yeah, I played the Pram today here. But yeah, and they're both very different courses as well, so it makes things interesting after 2 days of golf where everyone stands.
All right, Leona, I'll start off with you. Welcome to your first LPGA LET DP World Tour ISPS Handa World Invitational. I know last year you had to miss this event because of the Olympics, but what's it been like coming to Northern Ireland knowing that you'd be able to tee it up this week?
Yeah, I think it'll be a fun week. Nice to play in front of home crowds, I guess, and just with the nice weather as well as an added bonus, so hopefully there'll be plenty of people out to support this week. And played in this event 3 years ago before it was sanctioned and everything, so nice to go back to somewhere that's a little bit familiar, I guess. And both courses in really good shape, so yeah, excited for a very different test this week than your last week.
You finished with your best major finish last week at the AIGA Women's Open. How do you hope to translate that from last week to this week?
Yeah, I mean, always nice to finish on a Sunday with your best round of the week, and it'll be, like I said, a very different test this week. Learning to get the ball in the air a little bit, though the fairways are pretty bouncy here in Nazarene, a bit more than I expected. So, yeah, I mean, keeping the ball out of the rough this week, I think, will be the most important thing. And last week it was the bunkers, this week's the rough, I think. So, yeah, a different challenge, but we'll look forward to it.
And then Linn, welcome here as well to you. DP World Tour has a lot of fun with you after what you were able to perform at the Scandinavian Mixed. What's it like to be back at a co-sanctioned event with the DP World Tour?
I mean, I like these events, obviously, from Halmstad, but just being here with the guys and kind of a different environment and co-sanctioned, and I enjoy it. It's a bit different, it's a different week, but it's a fun week as well.
You're also coming off a nice performance at the AIG Women's Open. What have you been feeling about your season as far of what you've been able to do on the Ladies European Tour this year?
Well, I'm very happy with my results being my first pro year. I didn't really know what the year would have for me, but I'm just very happy with my performance so far and looking forward to the rest of the season.
Perfect. All right. Questions. If there's any questions, I'll just go around the table here. I'll start with you.
Leona, I was chatting to Adam McKendry, nice to see you. I was chatting to Olivia yesterday, and she was saying whenever she was coming up through the Irish amateur ranks, there wasn't, a professional tournament for you guys to look towards, and now you have 2 in World Invitational and the Women's Irish Open coming back next month. Just how big is it for you to see that sort of profile for Irish women's golf again?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I was fortunate to be a few years ahead of Olivia, so I got to play in 3 Irish Opens, one in Portmarnock and 2 in Clencastle. It's big. It's, I mean, when we were kids, Dad brought us to the men's Irish Open in Baltra and Curtin House and stuff, because there was no women's one, and then got to have that experience as an amateur. And I think any time as an amateur you get to test your game against the best players in the world, it's always a good thing. And no different if I'm sure there'll be lots of kids walking around this week getting pictures, getting autographs, maybe get a ball or 2, and those are memories that stay with you. And nice, like you said, that we have 2 events back on the schedule, and hopefully those events will go from strength to strength in the next few years.
You were saying there how good it was, finding your best round of the week in the 4th round at Muirfield. Was there anything that you just sort of find between Saturday and Sunday, anything that really clicked?
Yeah, I mean, it's links golf, you have to be patient. I knew there was a score out there. I felt like I was playing well. I just hadn't holed enough putts over the first few days, and just hold a few more putts on Sunday, and all it needs is a bounce here, a bounce there, and it doesn't really take much for it to go either way. But yeah, nice to have a bogey-free round on Sunday for sure.
What?
Yeah, maybe one question for the 3 of you and a couple more questions. But So Muirfield last week took a lot of energy, mental and physical energy. I mean, how do you recover from that? I mean, this is kind of a week to take it easier, or still a tournament, but what do you do this week now?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I had a day off on Monday and only played 9 yesterday, so I feel like I got some energy back, and mostly mentally as well, because with the win last week, it's so tough to try and even relax, like even walking down the fairway, because you're thinking about every shot. This week, I think obviously the course is maybe more simple. You kind of know where you're going. I don't think the weather will be as bad, hopefully. So yeah, in a way, mentally, I think it would be easier, but still a very big tournament, and one that I think we all want to win.
Yeah, I think it's the same. I think in your field you couldn't switch off for a second. Like most links courses, you really have to pick your targets and really execute as well. I mean, I think Mazarine is sneaky tricky this week. There's a couple of blind tee shots there and stuff, so you want to prepare as well as you possibly can, but at the same time conserve energy too. There's a little bit more demands on my time this week as well than there normally would at any other LPGA event, but again, it's nice to be home, nice to be in front of home fans again this week, and I'm sure the spa at Galgorm will get a bit of extra use maybe this week as well.
Yeah. Linn,
No, I just totally agree. It's a different course this week, but it's back to target golf and hopefully making some more birdies and not having to think about how not to make bogeys this week. Just like Leona said, just stay out of the rough and kind of try to hit the greens and pull some putts.
And one follow-up. So one of the courses is going to play par 73. I mean, I know it's simpler, but it's longer, no? So you don't normally play par 73. Is there any adjustment that you have to do? Or just assume that there's one more stroke?
Yeah, not really. I think quite a few of the par 5s are reachable, so I think there's definitely low scores out there, especially if we have weather like this. But like Leona said, I think the other course can be quite tricky as well, because it's got a little funny slopes on the greens, and I think that course you just need to kind of play and get a decent score and then get away from it, because it's a little bit like that. But yeah, we playing together tomorrow and on this one first, so it'd be nice to play this and then go back to the other one.
And then about the demands on your time, I mean, there's things that you probably really enjoy here. So what are those things that, I mean, with friends or with family or with the fans, the things that you take from this week that you really have a good time with and give you extra energy probably?
Yeah, I mean, I have plenty of friends and family come to watch this week that don't normally get to see me play, so that'll be nice to have them all around, and yeah, nice to feed off the energy of the crowd, I suppose. Hopefully there'll be plenty of people to support, and lots of the Irish guys playing this week. Obviously Steph and Olivia are playing too, so yeah, hopefully the crowds will rally behind us, and hopefully we can put on as good a display as golf as possible for them.
And the last thing, we talked about the Scandinavian mix now this week here, so I will guess you can make the case for more mix events and for more events where the purse is split equally between men and women.
I mean, I enjoy those events. I mean, I know everyone doesn't, but I just think it's fun to have something new, kind of push golf in a different direction than what it's been. And just, I mean, see both sides of golf and kind of get a comparison.
Very good, thank you.
Leona, John High from BBC Sport Northern Ireland. It was wonderful last year after the Solheim when you went home, open top car with your grandmother, I believe. Mm-hmm. Was it? And so you said a lot of is there a bit of an exodus from Cavan? Coming up this week.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they'll be here up this week. Yeah, I don't really know. It's hard to tell with these sort of things. Obviously, maybe it'll be quieter probably Thursday, Friday, and hopefully there'll be a few up the weekend.
Yeah. And what's your? I mean, in terms of the course, you say it's going to be very bouncy. Do you think keeping the ball out of the rough? You were saying it's going to be key. Is it? In terms of difficulty, how would you say Galgorm and Mazarine stack up with the normal LPGA?
I think the scoring will be better at Galgorm. I think Mazarine is quite short for the lads, so they've gone up the rough. Same probably here. I think we're on a lot of the same tees as the guys in Mazarine. I know the pars are somewhat different on some of the holes and whatever, so I think it's very much you'll make your score at Galgorm, keep it tight around Mazarine, and then try and look go low on Galgorm at the weekend then.
You think the scoring will be low at Galgorm?
I mean, it's hard to tell. I don't know what the scores were like last year, but it's one of those things. If you play well, you'll be rewarded. If if you miss shots, you'll be punished. So I think it's a pretty fair test.
Georgia, you were saying 4 weeks in a row. I mean, what's the schedule from here on in over the next couple of months?
For me?
Yeah.
I'll go home for 2 weeks, and then I've got 4 weeks in a row again in the US. And then maybe like 5-6 weeks off. I'm not playing in the Asia, which is nice. So then I'll just take that off, and then we're back in November in Florida for a couple of weeks, and end with CME, which is like one of our biggest events of the year in Naples, which is pretty nice. Only 60 players, limited field, so yeah, it's a nice one to finish the season on.
When you're on those weeks off, do you touch a club, or do you just completely unwind?
On my next 2 weeks off, I'll probably like a couple of days touch a club, but after 4 weeks in a row, I like to have like a whole week of just getting away from it, more mentally, because we're doing the same routine, every day, and as we know, it can get a little bit tiring sometimes. So I think it's important to take time away from golf.
Linn, after you won, you've got to be the favourite this week after winning the previous men's and women's tournament. I know they're separate fields this time, but I mean, I presume it'd be great to do the double, as it were, in these type of formats.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a win. It's always amazing to do so, but you never know. Like Leona was saying, you never know how low the score's going to be, how everyone else is playing. So I just have to go out and do whatever I can do and see how far it takes me.
Thank you very much.
Is it just one about a mindset change? You've said you were grinding there for the last week, trying not to make mistakes. How do you switch into trying to be maybe more aggressive, make those birdies? How do you do that? Is that something you have to get your mentally prepared for? Are you doing it on the wing? You're like, on the course, right? I can't attack here, I can attack there. Is there a lot of planning involved? What's the idea behind that?
I mean, for me, it's probably the other way that's more difficult. You come from playing target golf like pretty much the whole season, and then you go into the British events, and all of a sudden there's wind. You have to change your mindset. So coming back to this week, I think it's more of just like going back to what you used to do, rather than get more.
Yeah. Leona, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the trickiest thing this week is only maybe seeing the courses once, and splitting the sort of preparation between both courses, and them being a little different, probably adjusting as well to the speed of the greens from. I saw Mazarine yesterday, and I'm not going to see it again till Friday, so it may change a little bit between now and then, so I'll just be trying to adjust as quickly as possible. But I mean, ultimately, anytime you play golf, you're trying to shoot as low a score as possible. Even at Muirfield last week, there was chance that there, you had to take them where you got them, and it's no different really.
Yeah, Georgie, same approach.
Yeah, I think you can maybe be a little bit more aggressive on these courses. Par fives are more reachable. Last week, if you missed, a fairway or green, you pretty much had to just chip out and try and get your par. But I think this week's a little bit more. You don't have to chip out if you miss a fairway, really. I mean, you can still kind of go for the green. So I think a little bit more aggressive. But yeah, I mean, there are holes you've got to be careful of on both courses.
Great, that's fine. Thank you.
And just a couple to wrap up from me, from people in the States. Leona, coming back here to Northern Ireland and just Ireland in general, who did you look up to as you were playing as a kid, and what does it mean to you now, knowing that kids are looking up to you when they come to events like these?
Yeah, I mean, for me, there was no Irish players in the LPGA, so it was the guys. It was Roger Harrington and Tiger and those guys, getting to watch them and getting to watch follow Padraig Brand in Irish Opens and Paul McGinley and all of that, and then Rory and Shane in later years. On the ladies' side, I guess it was like Suzanne and the girls like that in the Solheim Cup in 2011 when it came to Ireland. We were on the junior team, so going to follow them around for the tournament round. So yeah, any of those girls that were on the Solheim Cup that year in Killeen Castle was sort of big heroes of mine for a while.
And what does it mean to come back to kind of your home event and be able to have kids come and know that they're looking up to someone like you?
Yeah, I think it's big. I think it's big to have a home event. I think you see with the Lionesses winning last week at Wembley, all the 89,000 people were there watching that, and that's going to inspire a generation of young girls. And I think when you see it on TV, it's one thing. When you see it in person, it brings it to another level, whether that's getting a picture or an autograph or a golf ball or whatever it is. And I know I had posters and I had pictures on my wall as a kid for years when I met different athletes and that. So yeah, I think it's actually special when you get to see it there in person.
And we talked a little bit after JP McManus. There's been some interesting kind of stories of people that have looked up to you. I know one in particular, if you want to talk about the confirmation name.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I suppose it's an Irish tradition. People take a saint's name usually for the confirmation. And I met a little girl recently that took Leona instead. Definitely not a saint name, but yeah, cool sort of thing, I guess. Yeah, a little bit surreal. I don't really know how I feel about it. It's a bit of pressure, but yeah, cool.
Is there a saint for Leona?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know.
I put
Saint Leona of Cavan's got a ring to it, hasn't it, down the line? Yeah.
Just miracles?
Huh?
Any miracles yet? No?
Yeah, maybe, hopefully a few this week, maybe.
And then one more from me. You're one of the highest ranked players in the field this week. What would a win here mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be very special. Anytime you get to win on the LPGA is a cool thing. It's very hard to win on the LPGA. The standard every week is you have to do a lot of things right, and it's not just you that affects that. So ultimately, you're just trying to play as well as you possibly can, and if that's enough at the end of the week, it is. And if it's not, it's still going to be a fantastic week here. And